Tippy time, my damies. Today we are going to be running my Antaeus wards build through some control. We're running the Cryoclasm aspect, the Tectonic Harvest aspect, Glacial Grenades, Whisper of Conduction, Whisper of Fishes, and Whisper of Rhyme. We will be running the Eyasluna. Today we'll be running Demolitionist with Perpetual Motion, Ricochet Rounds, and Fast Draw HCS. Cartesian Co-ordinate with Under Pressure High Impact Reserves. The Legend of Acrius Exotic Shotgun, Hand Cannon Targeting and Hands On mod, Fastball, Fusion Rifle Loader and High Energy Fire, Powerful Friends, Fusion Rifle Scavengers and Radiant Light, and Outreach with Quick Charge, giving us ever ready for better handling. We are running 70 Strength, 60 Discipline, 80 Mobility. Alright guys, let's go get in there and test this shit out, eh? Jesus, it's starting to get dizzy running around in circles, eh? Feels a bit like playing a ring around the rosies. Is it rosies or roses? I always said roses, but for some reason I think it's rosies. Fuck it. Put roses at your grave. Pew.
Damn, I'm good.
Oh, fuck that shit. My nuts aren't that big. Pew. Ooh, bitch, you just got slapped. Ooh, threaded the needle, yeah! Alright guys, let's break down this build. Today we were using the Antaeus wards. They come with the exotic perk Reflective Vents. Sliding reflects projectiles and grants super energy whilst doing so. This exotic has had its fair share of buffs, nerfs, bugs in its time with us. But currently I would say it's fun, good, strong, but not too strong. It now takes 1.5 seconds to activate during your sprint and will be available to you as long as you keep running like the APUR. Once sliding, the vent is active for half a second and deactivates after that. With these you are going to be able to send back sniper shots, arrows, grenade launchers and shotgun slugs. However, if you slide over / past a sticky grenade from something like a mountaintop, you are going to take a small bit of damage. My personal favourite, and I can't tell you how much joy I get from sending a Yotan back in somebody's face. Other fusions will also bounce back in their face. In fact, the best thing to try and take them down that doesn't reflect back is a shotgun, as it seems to get eaten by the shield and not actually sent back in your face. So perhaps a well-timed shotgun shot is your best bet. For some reason it doesn't like sending pellets back as often. You probably want something like a retro futurist or a rapid fire frame. It's the first shot is going to get eaten by the ward and you need to be ready for the follow-up shot. Never attack an Antaeus ward with a hard light, as hard light does double damage off bouncing something, so you're just going to kill yourself twice as fast. Actually, one of the better options for taking down an Antaeus ward user is a trace rifle. The beam won't bounce back and a steady stream of fire, so they'll have to break that engagement off. When using the Antaeus wards, the Devil's Ruin is one thing to look out for, as half the blast might be eaten by your ward, but the second half will kill you. So if you note the enemy team has one of these, engage at your own risk. The Bastion also has a staggered 4 burst and is very strong fusion, as I'm sure you're aware, and the second half of that burst will kill you. I'd have to say though, with the Horde and Telesto are probably the best counter against the Antaeus wards. And then comes the abilities. It gets even saucier. They throw a grenade at you, you can send it straight back and it becomes your grenade. Just note this is whilst it's in the air. Once it's landed, it's over. This is also the case with throwing melees. Your smoke bombs, top tree dawn, middle tree storm, handheld supernova, middle tree arc, throwing knife and baby hammer. And no, he can't collect that hammer and throw it again at you, as it is now your hammer. Taking that shit like it's the neighbor's Wi-Fi. One thing I found very fun is sliding straight through the Titan shield and not taking a lick of damage. Kinda like the pre-nerf barricades. Please note I've only tested this with the Cryoclasm slide. Other subclasses have a slower slide, so you might take some damage perhaps. I think it's worth touching on that you will be able to send back some super hits, and they will bounce back certain projectiles, but I wouldn't be running headfirst at any super anytime soon. Things to best send back are Slover bombs. I'm also not sure if it's currently a bug, but you can also bounce back to Silence and Squall once it's already activated. You just let them chuck that at you and then you just run and slide into it and it will send it back. I mean, you can send back things like the Dawnblade and the Golden Gunshots, but the thing with these supers is they have the ability to throw more, so you're only going to get one send back before you can get your timer back up again, and they're just going to follow up super you, so not worth it. In summation, these are a fun, viable exotic that I will continue to use inside my 6v6 game modes of Crucible. You need to keep the Reflective Vents perk up and running, and with that you need to be up and running. So for my playstyle I find this not so useful in 3v3 game modes, as it's often the case that it's more dueling, standoffs and peak shooting. Being that this exotic is tied to sliding around like a maniac, it only makes sense to run on the behemoth, right? Cryoclasm aspect improves our slide drastically. It's great laying down a glacial grenade to wall off an encounter. The enemy thinking, oh, he must be hurt, he's healing. Then slide through and go gangbusters on his ass. This also ties perfectly with the aspect Tectonic Harvest, which upon shattering the grenade causes shards that give me melee energy. This melee does 150 damage and slows, and it has a knockback effect. I just use it to Superman fly in and out of encounters. Those stasis shards that we get from the glacial grenade, those shards will track to us by way of Whisper of Conduction. And due to the Whisper of Rhyme, this will also make them grant us an overshield. I believe each glacial grenade upon being destroyed has 5 shards, and I believe they each do about 20 overshield. I'm also using the Whisper of Rending, so it's easier for me to break those glacial grenades on my own if I'm wanting to do it at range to kind of like pre the overshield. So if it's too dangerous for me to slide through, I can just shoot the glacial grenade at range and then slowly move up to the encounter so I'm still 80est and the overshield will track to me. The Eyasluna is back and better than ever before. I'm so glad this wasn't like other old guns that were brought back and just fell short. This thing delivers over and over again, and it comes with a bevy of great perks. You can get Rapid Hit, Outlaw, Perpetual Motion, Heating Up, Rangefinder, and lastly Unrelenting. Perhaps the only perk here I wouldn't take is the Unrelenting. These perks here, I'm using Perpetual Motion. This grants me bonus weapon stability and handling and reload speed whilst in motion. And as I'm using Behemoth Antaeus, we're doing nothing but moving. Perk also stacks up to 2 after an extended duration. And you would actually be how surprised this is actually active, and it sticks around for a slight second after you stop moving. Second column we have Headstone, Demolitionist, Kill Clip, Harmony, Moving Target and Snapshot. And depending on your build there isn't a perk here that I wouldn't use. For this build we'll be using the Demolitionist. There's 3 reasons why. 1, I want grenade energy and it's an integral part of this build. 2, clutch reloads as I'm not running a hand cannon loader. And 3, I find this gun has great standard stats, so I feel you can run these perks and still compete. It's a 140 RPM, 11 standard mag, 80 aim assist, 14 zoom, 96 recoil, and it will reach ranges of 36 meters. I will be using this weapon and other rolls of it for a long time to come. This, you might note, has rangefinder in the first column, so you're able to stack it with a damage perk, unlike the palindrome. The Cartesian Co-ordinate. I was using this thing back in season 14 before the fusion buffs came in, and I was loving it way back then, before all the fusion rifle buffs. Always loved this archetype inside of the Crucible. It reminds me of the D1 fusion rifle style. But back then people were laughing at me for using this shit fusion rifle when they had other things to use. And probably rightly so. But then season 15 happened and fusion rifles got a massive overhaul. The Cartesian is a rapid fire frame solar fusion rifle. It has a mixed bag of perks, but luckily for us it does have a god roll that makes this thing next level. It was easy enough to get as it's in the word loot pool, but unfortunately it makes it hard to target farm. Sadly, you're at the mercy of RNG or Banshee, and I believe you'll only have 1 week left to get this thing. But when you do get one, there's a few things to keep an eye out for. With the nerfs that happen to sliding, shotgun ranges and spread nerfs, it's allowed things like this to plug that hole. Fusion buffs gave this thing a faster charge time, so now it really feels like a rapid fire. It's not like your Orientals, Main Ingredients or Glacier Chasms. Won't be required to do that little pre-charge dance around the corner. This thing feels almost instant, allowing you to push that corner, slide, or even go airborne. You could go accelerated coils with no backup plans for that real shotgun feel. This will give you a faster charge time even again, but the trade-off is less damage. This archetype also comes with 9 bolts instead of 6, and at range sits at about 17 meters. At around 20 meters you're going to start seeing some drop off in your numbers. The time we don't want to be spending our stats on range, we want to be spending them on the stability. For our scope, you're going to want the red dot 2 MOA. This is a snapshot and increases range and handling. Either particle repeater or projection fuse. I would recommend particle repeater, as the more I'm using this thing I'm starting to realize it's kind of like full choke for fusion rifles. It constrains the bolts. I've got a stability masterwork in this thing, so I can feel free to run the targeting mod on this. If you have say a range or something else, I would run a counterbalance mod on it. I only need to land 7 of the 9 bolts to get that kill. Each bolt does 30 damage, doing a max of 270 damage. Slideways is a great perk on this thing and would have been an excellent choice with this build. Because of this archetype, it actually reloads 2 into the mag instead of the 1 like it normally does, and the stability bonus is no joke. But I just couldn't overlook the under pressure and high impact reserves combination. Under pressure increases both stability and accuracy as the mag is lower at the start of the round, so upon spawning in, the perk will already be active. And the high impact reserves also gives you increased damage at the bottom of the mag, so this will also be active. So even when I got max ammo, I try not to reload to make the best of these 2 perks. It has a reload speed of 50, so you don't really need to worry about that going into an encounter. You can just slide in, get your 2 shots, quickly reload and continue on. It has an aim assist of 60, but word of caution, this tends to bounce left. In these build bid series, I normally don't break down my heavy weapon, but I just wanted to say, boy did I have fun with the Acrius. Deleting the enemy into arc vapor got my rocks up in a way that I'm rather embarrassed to admit. You'll need to get an exotic cipher to get this from the exotic kiosk year 1 tab. Its perk Shock Blast is devastating. Unfortunately I wasn't recording at the time, but I slid up behind some guardians who were in a stag rift and got a triple collab with 1 shot. It also comes with a perk called Long March, which gives you a enhanced radar, so I'd often run around with this thing just to use that perk. Anyway guys, that's the build for today. Hope you enjoyed it. I really enjoyed making it. Please like, share and sub to be titled next time. Peace. Yay!